So recently I decided to jump back into BF1, a game that I spent a lot of time with and have had a great deal of fun with. So why was this game so great in the first place? Before we start, I do want to say that if you enjoy the video, do give it a like. If you want more content like this, then consider subscribing, and if you want to support me and the channel, then be sure to share it by digging a trench and firing mortars at your neighbor. So why was Battlefield 1 so great? Well, for starters, the trailer is unforgettable. Seven-nation army over a brutal World War I gameplay was very cool, but also the timing of the game amplified this. We had just come off of 3 straight modern Battlefields, and Call of Duty was using jumpsuits and trying to be Star Wars. People were sick of this and they wanted to go back to the past again, which Battlefield did, and in grand style. World War I was a very refreshing setting, and while gameplay reflected very little of historically accurate combat, it felt very new. The factions were empires that we had maybe heard of in history class, but were not entirely familiar with in the way that we are familiar with World War II's factions. The settings were also new. It wasn't going to be D-Day, Iwo Jima, and Monte Cassino. No, we had St. Quentin Scar, Monte Grappa, and the Devil's Anvil at Verdun. All new, all equally brutal. The maps themselves were absolutely fitting. Verdun Heights is one of my favorites simply because of the apocalyptic look to it. Do you remember BF1's epic trailer? Were you insanely hyped, or did it seem boring? Which maps and settings were your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. Now to the game itself. How did it play? What was good and what sucked? Well, it depends who you ask. Many veterans of Battlefield hated the explosive spam, which could be annoying, but to others seemed to add to the aura of World War I. The constant barrage of explosives going off replaced the artillery that would have been in its place. The gunplay, to be honest, was pretty terrible. RBD, or random bullet deviation, seemed cool and realistic, but ultimately was extremely annoying in gunfights. This, combined with a suppression mechanic that made this more intense, really just took control away from players and reduced the skill gap. I will say though that class balance is very good in this game. Every class can be very good at what it is supposed to do in the hands of any player that utilizes its strengths. Snipers do have the sweet spot mechanic, making it much easier to use than normal, but this was fitting as World War I was mostly bolt-action rifles. It was nice to use semi-autos with the medic again, as well as actually being able to kill someone as medic. Assault is great at blowing shit up, as it is and always should be, and support is very good as well. The guns are mostly good and the mortars are, pretty effective. Vehicles are very powerful, as they should be, especially the planes and tanks. I will say that Great War era vehicles are very different than traditional vehicles that we're used to, which is nice and refreshing for the game as well. The tank was a brand new invention in this war, and it's only right that they are so powerful. There is one thing that I do want to point out though, and that is how pointless the MMG mechanic seems in Battlefield 5. Sure, in BF1 you still have campy LMGs, but they aren't forced to camp in the way that they are in BF5. I do hope DICE does find some way to just change that meta, as it is annoying, more so than the hill-humping snipers. Other than that, I found it hard to compare the two games directly, as they're both very different. BF1 is a bit more of a casual experience, but the intensity of each match is always there. BF5 is a lot less hectic, but much more of a thinking man's game. Anyway, which one do you prefer? How do they compare to you? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next one.